Every day I search in spite of me. Every day I search for what I cannot see. Every day I search for you. Every day I search for the truth. Just can't help falling in love with you. More with everything.
to church online with the Ecclesian House, and I don't have my notes. Where are my notes? I have my notes. What's a 5-minute countdown for if you're not going to have your take the time to pull out your notes, right?
Yes.
Yes. So how's everybody's week been?
Good.
Tired.
Well, you lived in Portland, Oregon this week, so...
Just part of it.
You mean most of it?
I go back tomorrow.
Yeah, for another week.
Hey, Gregors. When it comes up, however it comes up, you click there, you click there, and it's there.
Okay.
I'm eating cupcakes.
I don't know why it's not here.
They're St. Patrick's Day themed. I guess because today's March 1st.
I guess. I don't know. I went to Walmart and it went green, and I went, alright, I guess.
Although I'm not a plastic patty anymore. I took that DNA test. 46% German, 21% Italian, and my Irish was in the teens.
He's 100%.
I'm 100% European, except for in the 1400s I had an ancestor from Bengal, from the eastern shore of India.
Just one.
Just one. Yeah. And then a couple of generations before that I had another one from the same area. But apparently my ancestors left Germany before the Nazis rose to power, so at least there's that. What are you listening to, Roxanne?
Found this nurse who likes to post her day at the ER,
seen one of
and
those.
today
And this lady,
patients, two of the
her
patients'
husband's
toes
a
fall
cop.
off in her hand.
And like their blue
Okay then.
That's
that's
what
their
I'm
Velcro. She put a badge on it that says Donut Police.
I saw that. Just put a Velcro badge on his bulletproof vest.
In the back, yeah.
Yeah.
Which you gotta wonder, at what point did, because if she probably didn't post it right away, because she's smart.
Yeah.
So, at what point did he realize it? Throughout his day? Or was he in his squad car or his post or whatever, and all of his friends didn't say anything?
I'm sure they just laughed it off all day.
And then all of a sudden he sees the...
Apparently, people under 16 can't have friends.
That makes sense.
Even Oklahoma.
I'm sorry, it's sad for people under 16. They can't have friends. You friendless people.
That's what's wrong. Hey, we have one viewer on Twitch. Welcome.
Welcome.
Yay! Okay, so this week the podcast was about integrity. Integrity. Why are you frowning?
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you not listen to integrity?
Nope, I just realized that. You don't have papers, do you?
The printer broke. The church's printer broke.
Oh, what?
The church's printer it broke. The ink cartridge thing won't move. So it won't. What, did he drink the water? Don't go through there. Don't go through. You're gonna hit the camera. Oh, okay. It was a literal headbutt.
Right butt in the face. I'm sorry.
At least it wasn't his butt.
Okay, you don't want me to hold you?
Why'd you put me down? I just got butt-headed.
Butt-headed?
Greg, look at all those wrappers of all those things you've eaten.
Who put this on the plate?
It's crazy.
Hey, dude, you gotta be careful. I
No,
told you to
you've
watch
been
how much you eat.
I didn't do this.
Oh, there's 3 viewers on Facebook.
And then we have to listen to it. Oh my gosh. Greg, what's that over there?
Bruh.
No,
This is supposed to be over the next 10 minutes or so. We are going to be
Not cool.
looking at integrity.
Get it off!
It's a plate.
Vice
I'm about to
President
use the plate.
was
For what?
and
More
wrote
For another burger.
when it became widely public knowledge that he required any
Because James didn't want us to do it either.
night with him be isn't his wife, and he wouldn't attend events where there was going to be alcohol unless his wife was going to be with him. The world scoffed at what the vice president called building a zone around your marriage. It was reframed in the media as a man who couldn't be trusted to be alone with a woman lest he do something untoward. The thing is, he had it absolutely right. If I were to boil integrity down to one sentence, it would be doing the right thing, even when no one is watching. It's not because you're afraid that you'll do the wrong thing, though. You're practicing the right thing when there is no outside pressure, so that when you're put under pressure, you can stand up for what is right. I can't tell you how many times in the workplace, with both Christian and secular jobs, I've been asked to break the law for the sake of the company. It's a modern epidemic.
Why are you biting yourself?
Honestly, I can only think of one employer that never asked me to violate the law. I remember one other employer only asking me once to violate the law, and when I brought up that the action would be illegal, they seemed genuinely surprised that they didn't already know that, and we turned full circle.
You know, I can't tell you that.
Both of those companies
The one
I
that
worked
turned
for
around and
at
decided not to
two
do it.
different
You didn't
times
tell
in
me
my
that one?
life. Now, most other employers just assigned the task that I
We can have that conversation in the car after we leave.
had a problem with to
Well, I know the
another
other ones
employee. Now, one employee in particular
Yeah,
insisted
but the people
that
watching that
they were
don't.
doing nothing wrong, despite
You don't want to tell them they did the right
outside
thing?
voices telling them otherwise.
So then they can narrow it down who
And
did the wrong thing.
refused to assign the task or let it go until they finally let me go for insubordination. I guess I shouldn't be surprised that the companies I've worked for that had the greatest commitment to integrity were the ones that came under the greatest scrutiny and suspicion from the public and governmental authorities. And the ones that had no concern about breaking the law behind closed doors.
He's carrying the water jug around.
The public and never seemed to have any issues at all, or just got a slap on the wrist. In the last couple of episodes, we talked about the heart. And I brought up more than once that we have a heart that needs to be
It's on the floor. It's fine.
the focus of this episode, integrity, is a natural extension of that issue. Now, just to review, Jeremiah 17:9 says, "The heart is more deceitful than anything else and incurable."
I'm waving at
Who
you.
can understand it?
So you can
And
put hay on
Romans
the
chapter
chat.
12, verse 2 tells us to not be conformed to this age, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Now, the word there, mind, is the word. It is the intellect, divine or human and thought,
hijacked the whole
feeling, or
thing.
will.
You really did.
Paul here is talking not about the brain,
But it's a good refresher
but what
for
we call
everyone
heart. We must
watching.
renew our
They can even hear it.
In 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 through 3, Paul writes, "Since we have this ministry, because we were shown mercy, we do not give up. Instead, we have renounced secret and shameful things, not acting deceitfully or distorting the word of God, but commending ourselves before God to everyone's conscience by an open display of truth." But if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled to those who are perishing. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but integrity and deceit are not on the same side of the fence when we're talking about light and dark, good and evil. Integrity is light, deceit is dark. Integrity is good, deceit is evil. Paul goes on in verse 4 to write, "In their case, in the case of those who the gospel is veiled, who are perishing, the God of this age," that's little g, the God of this age, "has blinded the minds of the unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ, who is the image of God." Now that little g, God of this age, that's Lucifer, Satan, the devil, whatever you want to call it. The devil has blinded the minds, and this time Paul does mean what we think of as the mind of unbelievers. It's important to remember
James.
like someone did for us. Now, I'm going to use a sports analogy. In case you didn't
You know sports?
hear
No.
that noise, that was all the people who know me personally that just gasped listening to this podcast when they heard that say, I'm not a sports guy.
Waitress.
If anything, I'm an anti-sports guy. I
Don't
like
make
anything
don't write
about
checks you don't
sports. I
intend to
think
cash.
It's a huge waste of time and energy for the participants and the fans, as well as a giant idol in billions of people's lives. But I have to admit that it's hard not to admire the athletic integrity. You
What
don't really
athletic
have to
integrity?
be into sports to know that those athletes don't just step out onto the field for the first time at the beginning of the game.
That athletic
There's
integrity.
thousands and thousands of hours of preparation that go into preparing their body and mind to compete. And if I tried to go out there in any sport and compete on that level, I would get creamed.
Croquet.
Anybody who tried to compete in any sport
Olympic
without
chess.
a lick of preparation would get creamed. It's not reasonable then to expect to be able to live lives of open displays of truth day in and day out against the pressures of the world
I didn't understand what you said.
without first putting in the prep work, exercising integrity in private. I don't know what areas you need to be practicing integrity in. Here's some that most people can relate to. If you're on a side road with a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit next to a highway, there's no residential area nearby, and little to no chance that a police officer is going to see you. How fast do you drive?
How fast do you drive?
No one will ever know.
40.
You approach an intersection without a traffic camera, and there's no cop in sight as the light turns yellow. You bear down on the gas, increasing your speed, trying to beat the light, only to have it turn red before you reach the intersection, and you blow the light. No one will ever know. You get a gig earning enough that you should claim it on your taxes, but you were paid under the table. And reporting now would cost you money you didn't save to pay and don't have. What do? No one will ever know. You're eating dinner with your sweetie at Chili's, and the computer system goes down as you're trying to pay, causing your card to get charged twice, and the credit company refuses both charges. Do you go back the next week and pay your bill? No one will ever know. Conflicts of integrity happen on every level. Practicing integrity takes place in the small, in the personal, in the private. I found a quote this week and decided not to tell you who it was from, but it says, integrity gives you real freedom because you have nothing to fear since you have nothing to hide. Now, of course, that's wrong. The world doesn't understand or respect integrity. And having integrity paints a bullseye on your back. Driving that 45-mile-an-hour speed limit is going to get you honked at and flipped off more times than you care to remember. Trust me, I know. I drive that road almost every day at 35 miles an hour. Stopping at that light instead of trying to beat it
Problem, you can't tell.
is most likely going to get you rear-ended. I've seen it. Lots out on the roads. Claiming money on your taxes you made in that cash gig is most likely going to get you audited in addition to the tax bill you're going to have to pay. And going back to pay your Chili's bill, well, I don't know yet. I'm going to go back and pay that tomorrow. But I'll let you know at the next Ecclesian House discussion of this episode how it goes when we meet on Sunday evening. This is Pastor.
Okay, so
It's Sunday evening.
this is what happens when the church's printer breaks and you can't bring transcriptions of the podcast with you. They just decided to just hijack the time and play the podcast.
It was Tina's idea.
Right. Right. I was gonna pull it up.
Earlier, he threw Greg under the bus. And he goes, "That's what I do. You're close to me, I throw you under the bus." And they're right, Bill. Ask your father. And I looked at Greg and I said, "I don't know what he's talking about."
What is in there? It doesn't smell like water.
It's
He
water
says-
from that.
It don't taste like water, really, man.
You have
Sometimes
juice
it
comes
comes
out
out
fast.
before?
No, before it had Pedialyte in it, which is a real subtle. But it does smell. So.
All right, so yeah, we went to eat dinner at Chili's. We had a date, and we got ready to pay. And I put my card in, and I hit pay, and then their computer system went down, and I pulled the card out, and it said it wasn't paid. It was like, what? So I ran it again, and then it still said it wasn't paid. So I pulled up the statement on my phone, and it said it had been no, sir. It said it had been submitted for payment twice. And I was like, well, I don't want to pay 3 times. And they were like, okay, well, you just go ahead and go, and we'll take your number. And they never called me.
No, he just choked a little, so he then freaked out about it. I didn't cause you to
Good.
choke.
So then I went back to pay the bill, and they were genuinely surprised that I had come back. You know,
Of course.
oh my gosh, you came back. Yeah, but then they wouldn't let me pay the bill. So okay, and I was like, but what about the waitress? What about her tip? Oh, I didn't think about that. Well, here, let me give you some cash, so I can at least tip the girl. Okay, so they took my tip cash and then I left, and that was it. So, turned out well enough, I guess. But they didn't expect me to go back. I mean,
No. We have pro people. Had. I don't work there no more. Had people. I actually got termed out of the system.
Already?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had trainings coming up, and so he termed me so he didn't have to do the trainings for me. But anyway, we'd have people, and what they would do is they'd say, I need to put this much on a card, and I'll pay the rest in cash. And the hope is the driver forgets to ask for cash. Which then, and a lot of drivers, you're so used to getting the credit card signed and move on. Get the credit card signed and move on. Get the credit card signed and move on. You just hand them the credit card, you get it signed, you move on. And then you're short all that money.
yeah,
Because the computer thinks you took the cash.
right.
And so there are people who out there who do it on purpose. So like not only like people are shocked when you have integrity, people are, because so many of them are just outright going after it.
And I'm not trying to say, if you didn't think to go back and pay, that you don't have integrity. Because everybody's on their own, you know?
Yeah.
We're all on our own scale and our own growth pattern and our own level, and some of us are just more woke than I love it when they use terms from TikTok. He's always like, nah.
I can't even. I'm in a hole, help me.
If somebody knows who Big King 2020 is, you might want to go help him. He's in a hole.
That's what it seems like.
He needs some help. So, if anybody knows Big King 2020, go help him. Right. So, James just slapped your wife. So, what do you think about Vice President Pence's zone around his marriage?
Oh, politics.
What was at the beginning of the podcast?
I can't hear
What did you
all
just
this.
listen to?
Yeah.
I heard bits
hard
and
to
pieces
hear.
because of all the screaming and stuff.
Right. So, when he was a senator, he required that any aide working late night with him be male, not female. He won't go to a dinner with a female that isn't his wife when it's just him and the female. And if he's going to go to a party where there's drinking, then he requires his wife to be there.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, I missed the. I remember hearing that, but I didn't hear it.
But you didn't know it was about Vice President Pence.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you guys think about all that?
I agree with the last one because I have the same rule. But it's for
you
different
don't go
reasons.
drinking without your wife?
I don't go drinking without my wife.
You don't go drinking without your wife because she gets mad at you left her out.
Yo.
No, I don't go drinking without my wife because if I have a drink,
What? You told Big King 2020 to come on over and get a piece of cake? You're not about to post your address on Twitch.
no, of course not.
There was that one TikTok that came across this week. It was a text, one of those conversations about, hey, I'm selling something. And the guy goes, what's the lowest you'll go? And he goes, 900 or 700 or whatever. And the guy goes, I'll give you 200. And he says, okay, whatever. Okay, cool. What's your address? He gives him an address. The guy shows up and he goes, I'm here. And he goes, okay, cool. And he goes, is it the comedy club? Yeah, it's the comedy club. Where are you? Well, just come on in. Come on in. And go up to the stage and tell your jokes to somebody who might find them funny. Nice.
That person drove down the road and
That's great.
I said it was 10 minutes later, so it wasn't that long of a drive.
Hi, buddy.
Yeah.
It was hilarious, though.
What? The burger.
Okay. So, the zone around your marriage to protect your marriage. Exercising that kind of integrity.
there are a lot of people who have similar rules.
Some of those rules make sense. Most of those rules make sense.
The baby.
It's when you don't have rules like that you end up with a. This is Carol and Tom's Facebook page. Wait, why did Carol and Tom have shit? Oh. Either Carol or Tom wasn't faithful, and they gotta have a shared Facebook page now.
Or they're just weird. There is the just weird.
There's the
But
occasional.
I think a lot of that also has to do with communication and how well the couple actually communicates.
Well,
Like-
it's one of those things where, like, so when you're in a position of power like that,
Now we're talking about Pence again.
yeah,
Not just any married person.
I think of it a completely different scenario, especially in that, which is people can say some stuff.
He's been so cranky today.
When you get a minute, I need you to tell Sarah and Adeline because they're not listening to me and they're up and about and running around and jumping up and down.
And the show got loud too.
They turned it up. Yeah.
I'm gonna. Oh no, that's supposed to say fun, not run.
Well, you know, he is the big king. Maybe he does need to run.
Hey,
I
Greg,
could use some running, except my
Greg,
knees won't
can you
hold
go
up
tell
to it.
Sarah to come here?
Sarah's right there.
I know.
Hey, bud, are you gonna go take a nap now?
Stop running around.
Love you. Bye bye. Stay nights.
Sit and watch the movie and turn it
Mwah.
back down.
For the kisses now.
Hey, then turn the TV off
Mwah.
or do something.
Night.
Stop
Good
it.
now.
Water.
All right. So when you're in the position of power like that,
There is always a chance of someone trying to slander you.
not only trying to slander you, but trying to entrap you.
Yeah. And it's a whole lot harder to be entrapped if you,
If you have rules in place.
well, not rules, but proof
Right.
that I was never alone with this person.
And he didn't say he wouldn't go to a restaurant with a woman who wasn't his wife. Like, he'll sit in a crowded restaurant, or he'll sit at a state dinner.
Alone. Is
Yeah,
what
he
he
won't
said.
be alone. Like, they're not going to order into his office and sit across the desk and eat alone in his office, just him and a lady.
I want grapes.
But people legitimately were like concerned, like, well, if he becomes president, how's he going to have state dinners with? Why don't you take this one that's not surrounded by other cupcakes? How's he going to have state dinners with like Meghan Markle? Not Meghan Markle. The German chancellor lady. What's her name?
I can't
Yeah.
remember.
How's he going to have state dinners with her? Don't take one from the middle. Take one from the edge. She can actually get it. If he can't eat alone. Well, nobody eats alone at state dinners. There's at least 20 staff members present.
Yeah.
They don't show up on camera, but they're there.
Yeah. Yeah. You're never alone. at that level.
Yeah. Unless you intend to be.
Right.
And he has rules to keep him from intending to be.
Looking at you, Clinton.
Clinton's a good example of
Kennedy.
He should have had better rules. Kennedy, Nixon. We need to go back down the line, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, I don't have the same rules, but I have rules. You know, there are a different set of rules.
Well, when I
that
worked at
happen.
Gateway, I was constantly using the elevators all over the building. And there's some of those elevators that are pretty, you know, not remote, but they're remote. Like,
Yeah.
And if I was on the elevator and a lady came in through the door, I'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot something." I'd leave the elevator because I wasn't going to ride an elevator, just me and this woman alone in the elevator. One, you know, I'm thinking anything could happen, but they could say anything happened, or somebody could see us coming out of the elevator and say anything could happen, or it could be the start of an emotional entanglement that could lead to an emotional affair that could lead to, so you know what I mean? Like, if I'm going to be around a woman in close quarters, there needs to be another person there, you know? It's just one of the rules that I had for myself when I was working at Gateway. Now, when I worked for Teen Mania that last time, it was impossible for me to have that kind of rule because we worked in a shared working space and where there was like 3 of us to an office, and I couldn't get my work done if I had the same rules of, well, I can't be in there.
Yeah.
You know, I just had to alter the rules of, well, if there's just me and this girl in the office, the door's got to be open. You know, anybody could walk by, and you know, so you just have to do your best to make sure you've got checks and balances in place on yourself. So, yeah. So, have you ever been asked to break the law at work?
What?
Now, I know you don't have a trouble with lying, so don't say no,
I said
because that would be a lie.
What?
You ever been asked to break the law at work?
What do you mean?
Have you ever been asked to break the law?
Huh?
At your place of employment?
What?
He's avoiding the question.
You hurt me.
I didn't hurt you.
No, you heard me. I mean, you worked for Walmart, so I know the answer is yes.
Actually, I don't think Walmart ever did.
Really?
Yeah.
You were never asked to work through your break?
No.
Never asked to work through lunch?
No.
Gosh, I can't remember. Maybe a handful of days they didn't ask me not
Yeah.
to take a lunch.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
And to-
my management
and to
was
skip
so
breaks.
good. My Walmart was so good. I didn't deal with the same issues that some Walmarts do.
I constantly had to fight for me and my employees to get breaks and to get lunch breaks working at Walmart.
I mean, I might accidentally run over my lunch and realize my register is locked and I have to go take my lunch, but I would go take it.
And there was this one time they were like, they were shorthanded, so my day off was a 7-hour period of time off before I was scheduled to be back again. And they were like, "Did you enjoy your day off?" 7 hours. It wasn't even the normal amount of time between a normal shift. "Oh, that was your day off this week." Okay then.
Yeah,
Fancy.
I mean, I'm sure I probably have been. I can't think of an example like this is good.
Like, I don't want to name names of any companies that I've worked for that have. Walmart, I can throw them under the bus because...
Well, there were whole documentaries throwing them under the bus.
Yeah,
so
it's
none
like-
of it's a surprise. Oh, Wells Fargo, of course.
I was part of a class action lawsuit about the whole breaks and lunch thing.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I'm one of millions of employees.
I forgot.
That
Wells
was
Fargo.
part of the class action.
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo, you specifically,
yeah.
yeah.
Because I worked at the time when the whole opening accounts that people weren't there was going on.
Yeah.
And I only opened up free checkings for people, but that's beside the point.
Miranda watches the show, and at one point, one girl at her work, and she sat down to talk to another girl, and her boss walks by. "What are you doing?" "I'm taking a break." "You're not supposed to do that. Remember, you're legally required to give me then, Barry." And he was like, walks away.
Yeah, my savings account at Wells Fargo used to be free. It's not anymore. It's $10 a month now. I'm losing money to have a savings account.
Yeah.
What?
I need to cancel
Capital
that thing.
One did. I love
Capital One is the one that when I had people taking money from my bank account without permission, they refused to stop the transactions. They just let them keep taking my money. So I literally... No, that was Chase Bank.
Yeah, I was going to say, no, that doesn't sound...
No, that was Chase Bank. Chase Bank refused to
Capital
stop people
One.
from taking my money. I literally had to pull my money and close the account in order to stop people
I
from
can see
having
that.
access to my account.
Chase used to be very... Chase has changed. A little. They're not... I'm not going to condone them, but we use them. But Capital One, I love them to death.
Yeah.
If someone was taking money out of your account, I'm pretty sure they would go try to find them and stab them or something. Like they go above and beyond in everything they've ever
the
done.
Chick-fil-A of banking?
I think they are. Right there on 26 in mid cities.
I mean, everything else about Wells Fargo is fine, other than they're charging me $10 a month for my savings account now.
I
And
left
I'm like,
Wells because I got angry
I
with
can't
them.
afford to have a savings account anymore.
Capital One, even their checking accounts, their free checking accounts have interest. Interest bearing. Because their whole thing is getting money in so they can give more credit.
I've started saving money with Credit Karma as my savings account. But I mean,
That's owned by Capital One, I think.
is it really? It's
Credit
difficult to
Karma
get
the one
it.
that's
It's
owned?
difficult to get my money out of my savings account now, but that's kind of that's the whole point of savings. It should be hard to get your money.
I think
Is it
Capital...
credit wise?
It might be credit wise.
That sounds right, credit wise. Anyway. Yeah, so it's an epidemic. If you own a business, there's an alert there. I can't tell. Can somebody swipe that alert away on my phone? Yeah, so it's an epidemic. If you own a business or you're a manager in a business, don't ask your people to break the law. That's ridiculous. I mean,
Now I have had an instance of what you were talking about where it was that's illegal. What?
right.
What do you mean that's illegal?
What do you mean that's illegal?
We've always done that.
No, that's illegal.
That's illegal.
We should stop doing that.
And then they call it legal, and legal's like, no. Oh. You're like. Everybody saw that on camera? No. That's not
But
even
that
a
one
shot.
place that refused to let it go, they had $20,000 in fines from the local fire department, and still insisted they weren't breaking the law. I'm like, there's $20,000 in fines for the issues that we're talking about, and you're still insisting that you're not breaking the law. Why are they writing you fines? Why is the fire marshal coming in writing fines if we're in compliance with the law? Well, you have to be in compliance with fire code. If you're not, you're breaking the law.
No, I'm not saying that. I have been a part of a company who got fined for something and then it got reversed when they realized they weren't.
Oh,
But
well,
I know
none of
that's
these
not-
got reversed.
I know that's not this situation. That's why I'm like,
No.
there are times that you are, especially Medicare. Medicare loves to fine people because their auditors are actually paid on how much they collect from people. So it's a whole reverse causes issues. They're like, oh yeah, that's definitely wrong, and you're like, no, I literally replaced that person's hip. No, they don't. They got two bad hips. No.
Yeah. What made matters worse with that one company was the specific area we were talking about. If something bad had happened, it was my signature approving the setups and all of the different things that were directly violating the fire code. So if people got hurt, I was the one that was going to go to jail. Not my manager, not his manager, whatever. I was like, I can't be... This is not acceptable to me. To risk going to jail so you can fit 50 more people into a room. It's not supposed to have that many people in that
Hey,
room.
you're only best if used by 331. You should put that back on, okay?
Okay, so we've talked about in these episodes that we have a heart problem. We talked about Jeremiah 17:9, where the heart is deceitful above all else and incurable. We talked about Romans 12:2, where you need to renew your mind. And then we talked about 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 through 4. Broke those up a little bit. But now I want to talk about that. So, Man, I can't remember what 2 Corinthians 4, 1 through 4 says. Somebody read 2 Corinthians 4, 1 through 4?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not the best person to do that. I read terribly out loud.
Oh, you want to read it?
No.
Oh, well then why'd you take the Bible from me?
I don't know. What am I looking for?
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 through 4.
I don't know where 2 Corinthians is.
It's after 1 Corinthians,
Where's 1 Corinthians?
before Romans. After Romans?
Where's 1 Corinthians?
I don't know.
I was like, wait, that's not right.
I don't memorize lists. It's not a
Pastor Bill,
thing
where's Corinthians?
in the New Testament.
What am I reading?
2 Corinthians chapter 4, verses 1 through 4.
Therefore, since we have this ministry, because we were shown mercy, we do not give up. Instead, we have renounced secret and shameful things, not acting deceitfully or distorting the word of God, but commending ourselves before God to everyone's conscience by an open display of the truth. But if our gospel is veiled, it is veiled for those who are...
Can you maybe tone that down a little bit? You're a little too tony, going up
Perishing.
and down, and
Okay, so being
interested
dyslexic,
in what you're reading.
being dyslexic and having a word dash rest of word is not cool.
It's not
Just
cool. It's
saying,
really not. It's
like,
hard.
It's like, because we are
Hyphenated?
Yeah.
perishing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, there you go.
You didn't finish it.
Did I not? In their
Therefore.
cause, the God of this age has blinded the minds of unbelievers to keep them from seeing the light of the gospel of the glory of Christ,
All right. And that's God, little g.
who is in the image of big G God. Yes, that's the little G God.
Little g God. And we talked about that being Satan, the devil, Lucifer, whatever you want to call it. But I also want to talk about that's Allah.
I've always viewed that little G God of this age. I think it doesn't necessarily mean one specific thing.
Yeah?
I think it's all the little G gods.
All the little g gods.
We're little G-goats.
It says God of this age. It's a singular term.
Which
not
age?
a plural term.
Age in which particular God, though?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean that's why I say it like that. Is I think it's changed over time, because if you say that if you have someone in Africa,
Okay.
it could be a different.
But Allah is one of those little g gods.
yes,
Yeah. He's not the big G.
So y'all are saying there's multiple gods?
The Bible multiple times says
Yeah.
there are other gods. God even specifically with his own mouth says, don't have any other gods before me.
no, do not worship.
Don't worship any other. It says have.
Well, yes, but
Have,
let's
worship. It's
let's
up to
make
the-
sure we
that word is.
understand what the word is,
Right.
not just what the word is.
Right, so let's quote some stuff from the Quran.
So, let's talk about aliens. Does that mean like foreigners?
Yes, talking about foreigners.
Okay.
Not the in the sky.
Yeah.
That's what.
Well, I mean technically they are foreigners in your country, so I mean maybe.
Maybe.
There's
I didn't know
nothing
if
in the
it's like
Bible that
illegal
says
aliens
one way.
or-
There's
Either way,
basically-
they're here illegally.
There's nothing. Look, that
Whether
that
they're from another
aliens
land or
does
another
not
world.
actually mean like that either. It's anyone who is not. It's not. It's anyone who is not from your land.
Yeah.
Okay.
So any immigrants, anything would those all would classify.
Technically, as a Texan, that would cover anybody from Oklahoma, California, if you're strictly interpreting the scripture. All right, so we're going to talk about some quotes from the Quran that talk about Allah, that highlight the difference between Allah and Yahweh. Right? So we know from the Bible, from Numbers 23:19, Titus 1:2, and Hebrews 6:18, that God does not lie. Right? And lying is the intent to deceive. Right? Okay. So Surah 3:54 says, and this is from the Quran, but they, meaning the Jews, were deceptive, and Allah was deceptive. For Allah is the best of deceivers. But we know from the Bible that God is not a deceiver. He's not a liar. Surah 799. Are they then secure from Allah's deception? None deemeth himself secure from Allah's deception, save folk that perish. Surah 2750. So they schemed a scheme, and we schemed, God speaking, we schemed a scheme, and they perceived not. So, the self-proclaimed Allah of the Quran is not the same as the God from the Bible that we worship.
I will agree. The Allah from
Based specifically off of
yes,
Quran.
then I agree.
Right. That's what we're talking about. We're talking
Yes.
about the Allah of
Yes,
the Quran.
then I agree.
Right. Now, there are many ways to Jesus, but Jesus is the only way to God. Right? So anybody can get saved. Anybody can follow their own set of rules and religions and find Jesus. Right?
It has happened in other
It has
countries.
happened. But then the faith that they have would align with, or rather we should say would not contradict.
Right.
It might not look jot and tittle like what the Bible says,
But it wouldn't
contradict
Which,
what the Bible says.
sadly, the Quran does. In several cases.
Over and over and over again.
Now, that does not mean inherently Muslims are bad.
No.
And it does not mean all Muslims throughout time were bad, because as we know, in Genesis, God did speak to Ishmael, who, is the father of, most Middle Eastern people groups. Most is.
Well, when Abraham was sorrowed over the fate of Ishmael, God told him, "Don't be sorrowful for Ishmael, because I will make him a great nation."
Yeah. So I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, at that point, when Ishmael walked away from Abraham, the long term, not that one time,
It was a blessed line.
it was and if you took just language wise, Allah and Jehovah would be very, very similar, kind of.
The Arabic word Allah just means all things good and glorious, or it's the idea of it's too awesome for me to put into words, is what the word
Right.
It translated means. It's kind of like the idea that the old Jewish and Catholic priests used to have of, well, God's name is so holy that we can't even write it or say it. We're just going to use nicknames and write down the nicknames,
Or to leave one letter out.
Or leave one letter out so that we're not profaning his name because the circle symbol is evil. Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Which is what they used to believe. Whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Now, even Muhammad,
Right.
when he first started getting revelations, taught his followers that they should be studying the Torah and that they should be studying the Gospels. The same Gospels we have today. So they were studying Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John as part of, well, if you want to follow me, you're required to study these 9 books. So,
and then at some point it turned.
and you can, like I said before, if you go back and you look up the order that Muhammad received the Quran, and you read it in that order, it doesn't contradict the Bible, doesn't contradict anything, and then suddenly the tone changes. And from that point on, it's a very different book.
Yeah.
But they're not allowed to study it in that order. They're actually forbidden. Muslims are forbidden from studying it in that order. They have to study it in the order that it's printed in, not in the order that Muhammad received the revelations in. So,
Which in and of itself is fuzzy.
we're basically talking about a religion that got hijacked.
Yeah.
A hijacked religion that
Started out.
started out right on the mark and then got hijacked. And now we have issues.
And we have people who hijacked it even further and continue to
Well,
pervert it more and more and more.
Christianity got hijacked too. I mean,
Christianity
that's
gets
where we
hijacked
get the
every
Catholic
day.
Church from.
Well, Christianity gets hijacked every day. That's why we have people standing out with signs that say God hates people when God can't possibly hate people.
Right. It's not in his nature to hate the way they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, side note. Yay!
So have you seen that video of the woman in Walmart that obviously needs mental help, but she's talking to this guy and she's getting angry and she keeps going, mother. No? So she gets angry with this guy and she's like, you need my help. And he's like, I don't need your help. And she's like, yes, you do. You need my help, mother. And he's like, no, ma'am, I don't need your help. You need, she's like, you need to repent. And he's like, no, you need to repent.
Stop, because we have to cover it.
And
You're touching it.
so she backs up and she starts yelling at him, calling him the accuser, and telling him to stop accusing her by saying back to her the same thing that she was saying to him before. And then one of the Walmart managers walks up. So, ma'am, can I help you? And she goes, yeah, I'm just angry. What's going on? I'm angry because this month won't repent. Okay. She needs some mental help.
I didn't see that. What's that? Oh, that's the thing he smacked you with?
From his hat.
Okay.
How many gallons are you worth? It'll say on it. It's a certain gallon hat. They all are.
No, it does say bang on there.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm pushing you away.
It's a bang
since I have
hat?
to leave tomorrow. I figure if I'm really mean before I leave, you'll
Bang. That's why I got it.
So did you buy the hat and the shirt today?
The shirt's old.
The shirt. So did you wear the shirt the first time today?
No.
It's so pristine.
I'm pretty.
Fastidious about your clothing?
Yeah. No, I got the boots yesterday.
So why did you come in all cowboyed up? And why'd you go with Slytherin boots?
Slytherin.
It's all gold and gray, gold and green. Slytherin. I made a Harry Potter reference when we were doing the Leap Day special, and he was like, Harry Potter, we're making blah blah blah. Anyway, what do you want?
You need to. I have some Rick and Morty stickers to see if you like any of them.
Stickers.
I have one too.
He bought. Oh, that's one of the ones I don't like. He bought a whole bunch, and he brought me the ones he doesn't like.
Oh, I see. Is that how that works?
And
Yeah.
so, if you
So
want,
now I get the ones you don't like?
No, I didn't say that. I
No,
said if you want one of mine, you can have it,
I'm about to get like 100 something more. So.
and I'll get the
I
ones you
don't,
don't like.
I don't
with
know
that.
if I'm going to watch Rick and Morty anymore. I was listening to Craig Rochelle, and in early 2017, he was talking about some of you out there, you watching trash. You don't care whether or not it glorifies God. And I was feeling a little convicted, so I don't know if I'm going to keep watching Rick and Morty. That's a personal decision, but, I'm not going to try to enforce that on anybody else, but I don't know. I'm still mulling that over, so we'll see.
Well, now I feel conflicted.
What
No,
have you?
I don't have any.
You listen to the Holy Spirit, and you do what the Holy Spirit tells you to do.
There are things me and Bill have disagreed with for years, and I'm like, no, I don't have to sing. The Holy Spirit hasn't told me that.
Right.
I have no problem with it. And then all of a sudden, one day, it's like, there it is.
And see, that's the thing. Like,
And then we're pouring liquor down the sink,
Yeah.
there are pastors that are like, well, I'm convicted about this, so you all should be too. You shouldn't do da 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 da. And I'm like, I trust the Holy Spirit enough, and I have faith in God enough that if that person needs to change something, God's gonna do what God does. That's His job. That's not my job, right? Why are you looking at me that way?
I should have had the last brownie. It's hurt my tummy.
I'm sorry. Quick,
shouldn't
download
have
the poo
that
app
last-
before you go.
I'm not downloading the
No.
Where Do I Poo app.
It's so much
Download
fun.
it.
No.
That's disgusting.
Because you can tell where you went, you can
I was
rate
sitting
it,
in
you can leave a
church and I'm
comment.
like, oh, who messaged me on Facebook? right now? And all I see is poo, and I went, nope, I'm putting it in Bill
Yeah, it
Shea.
said-
Nope,
it
I'm
said
putting that away.
Bill Shea, poo. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Poo.
That's all that flashed across my screen.
Poo.
It said who it's from and part of the message.
Milkshake. Poo.
I'm not about to download a poo app.
Download it.
I don't need to extend the amount of time it takes me to poo anymore by documentation.
It only takes like 5 seconds.
It's really quick. Like right before you wipe, you open the app, you hit a button that says drop the poo. You hit the button, and then it gives you the stars options, and you put the label of where it was, and you can leave a comment if you want. You can say nutty or runny or this bathroom's nasty or whatever you want, and then you hit submit.
It's great.
You do have the option to take a picture if you'd like.
Yes, you can. You can take a picture of it
It's
and
never
post it with
happened.
it.
I'm not down.
And we set up a league so we can see a league that I called Healthy Colons, so we can see who's got the healthiest colon.
You know,
Who proves the most?
the girls in my hall, in my dorm, had this thing about seeing who's bigger.
Oh my
Sometimes they would like leave one in there and wait for someone to fight.
That
It was bad. I was not involved in any way,
This
shape,
is
or form.
why boys are like, girls are this, girls are that. And it's actually, no, girls are
No,
nastier than
they're
we are.
gross.
Yeah.
Because guys wouldn't talk about it. We would just leave our huge
Now,
turd and
had
walk
this
away.
app been around at that time,
And we'd be like, "What? Why'd you just bring him in here and run away?"
Yeah, well, I just did it with him in there with me.
He wants his bubba.
I've got no food left.
He says, "I know who I wants, and I wants who's I knows."
He's like, oh, well, we don't have no food.
Here you go.
He ain't going like this.
Don't say that.
As soon as you say it, he's not gonna have it. He
You gotta
knows what you're
remember, he
saying.
reads emotions.
He knows what you're talking about.
And he's starting to understand words.
Hi, good sandwich? Put it in your mouth holes.
Like when we tell him, "You look handsome," he's like, "I just look handsome."
That's a nice hat.
Yeah, I said, "That's a nice hat." He's like, "Oh, I got a hat on. It's nice."
Yeah, he's like, oh, I've got a hat on. What?
Right. So you don't just wake up one day with integrity.
Sure you do. It's magic.
Yeah, it's magic.
Magic.
Yes. Can I help you? That's right.
Integrity takes intention. It's intentional. Because, wow. Because we're all born with bad hearts. Right?
Some worse than others.
My heart is perfectly fine. And according to my DNA test, so are my triglycerides.
I thought your heart was fucking huge or something.
It is. It's oversized significantly to where if I try to run, I can feel it pressing up against the chest cavity.
Right.
However, it beats just fine.
Right up until when it literally explodes in my chest.
And on that day, I will take a well-deserved rest.
And on that day, I'll look at you and go, told ya! Literally, we're gonna be at your funeral, your kids are gonna be crying, everyone's gonna be so upset, I'm just gonna walk up, look down. They're gonna have the closed casket because the thing literally blew your chest cavity wide open, so it's only gonna be your face. And I'm gonna look down and go, I'm gonna look at Rox, and Rox is gonna go, don't you fucking do it. And I'll be like, told you your heart was gonna explode, you f-. And I'm just gonna walk away.
I'm gonna get
James.
What did he say?
He said, "I'm head out now."
I'm head out now.
I'm head out.
See, I don't like the
Food conversation.
the numbers here. It says there's 0 people on, but you're on Periscope, you're on Facebook, and you're on Twitch.
I'm
So
not
I know
on
there's
Twitch.
at least 3 people on.
I'm not on Twitch. I'm only on my dashboard.
Oh, okay.
I'm not actually watching.
So I know there's actually 2 people on, but it said 0 just a second ago. Now it says 1.
Because you added her as a moderator, she probably doesn't count.
No, she does. I checked on it. She's considered a separate person that has moderation rights.
You're a separate person.
Whereas everyone else has to vote on whether or not a comment is correct or not. She can just make a decision. Periscope. It's a whole different world over there.
It is. It's weird. I don't like it.
Do we want to keep Periscope? I mean, it's owned by Twitter.
I don't like Twitter.
Streams it to Twitter. Why not?
I don't think we should just be Facebook and Twitch.
Face twitch.
Old people and gamers.
He said I have a face twitch.
Face Twitch.
That wasn't
Face
nice.
twitch.
Like, the only person I know that even actually uses Periscope is David Johannes.
I know some athletes and sports people who use it.
Nope.
You know athletes and sports people?
Yeah. I don't like them, but I know 'em.
Like, you guys went to the same bar or something and met? Or how did that happen?
High school.
Oh. That makes sense. Okay.
I got with a lot
It's
of
like,
jocks
how in
high
the world do
school.
you know people that play sports? Alright, so the episode that just came out is about accountability. Because accountability and integrity go hand in hand.
They don't have any hands though.
Prove it.
they're
Have you ever
they're not
seen integrity?
physical
Do-
things.
Have you ever
Do you
seen
know that
accountability?
emotions and feelings don't have arms and legs? Have you seen the
They're
movie
not
Inside Out?
physical.
Have you seen the movie Inside Out?
Have you seen the
I've
stores,
seen it recently.
still rooms of hail that God keeps at the corners of the earth?
What?
I'm quoting from the book of Job now.
Do you know where the Leviathan sleeps?
Do you know what let's see? Can you corral the Leviathan and tie a noose around its neck?
So, do you know anything about Job? Okay, so what happens is Job.
He's a
Job's-
recovering drug addict.
Job's this dude. Job's
That's
this,
all my Job I know.
Job's this dude, right? And Job's kind of cool.
I said Job's a recovering drug addict.
So the devil starts talking some smack to God, and he's like, "No one on the planet at this point likes you." And God's like, I'm paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing. You need to write a verse. I'm never. He's like, nobody likes you, dude. And God's
So,
like,
what
I
happened
got
is
Job.
one day Lucifer's talking smack to God.
God goes, nope, I got Job. And Lucifer's like, well, you know, the only reason you have Job is you put a hedge of protection around him. God goes, no, Job loves me because Job loves me. And Lucifer goes, pfft, whatever. So God goes, fine, I'll remove part of the hedge of protection, but you can't touch it.
No, I'll remove it from his family and his possessions.
Right.
But not him.
All of his animals die. All of his kids die. In like...
All of his kids die at the same time. While they're in one of his kids' houses having a dinner, a tornado comes and collapses the house on top
Yeah.
of them.
Like, I mean, kills them all. Like, immediately. At the same moment. So then... And, like, servants are coming to tell him, all the cattle are dead. All of this are dead. All of this are dead. Last one, by the way, your kids are dead. And he's like... Tears his clothes, starts freaking out. But he still is faithful.
Honey, break the good pottery.
Yeah.
Everything's
still faithful.
dead.
And then...
I gotta go in the morning.
Lucifer goes back and is like, well, he only likes you because you didn't let me do anything to him. And he's like, all right, don't kill him.
That's the only rule now.
So
Don't
Lucifer
kill
goes
Job.
down and is like, all right, boils, just like a whole list of like, just, I'm gonna you up real fast, right? While he's in mourning because everything he loves is dead. So then his three friends show up.
No. His wife gives him her advice.
Oh yeah, his wife, I forgot the wife. The wife gives some advice, and he ignores her.
No, what was the wife's advice?
I don't remember, it's not as fun as the friends.
She said, stop your pity party, curse God, and die already.
Oh yeah, curse God and die. Yeah, oh I forgot about that part.
Good
That's what the
Lord.
wife says. Can you imagine? Just curse God and die. And he's like, no! So then, the next thing happens.
Pause, the thing is paused, hold on. And continue.
So his three homeboys show up, right? And these are his closest friends.
Homeboys.
They come in and they're like, alright, we'll tell you what's wrong with you and why God's done this.
Yeah.
And so they start like, oh, well, you've sinned, or oh, you've this, or oh, you've that, and oh, you've this. So he's like, no, I'm not cursing God, you know. And then, like, we get a little farther, and then he starts talking to God. And he's like,
Erase the day I was born
I don't
from
understand.
the calendar.
Just kill me already.
Why didn't my mother abort me?
Like hardcore, but won't curse God.
Just why am I
Still
here?
respectful to God, but like, and then at one point he asks the wrong question. He takes that one step slightly too far,
Do you remember what he asked him?
and it was basically, well, why would you do? Like, why would you?
Yeah, why have
what
you
is your
done this to me?
motivation? What would you? Why would you? And can you look up because I'm gonna misquote, and it's just wrong if I do. What chapter it actually like kicks off where God like.
Job's like, boy.
Him.
Well, first I have to find Job, and like I said, I don't memorize lists. So. I like you, like you, like you. Chapter 38.
38 is when it starts? Okay. Alright, so.
Then the Lord answered Job from a tornado.
Whirlwind.
It means tornado.
He said, "Who is this who obscures my counsel with ignorant words?" Okay, when God comes at you and starts with, "Who asked me an ignorant question?" we're in trouble. Get ready to answer me like a man when I question you. You will inform me. So at that moment, Job shat himself. It doesn't say it, but that period right there, it says it all. Like, yeah. Where were you when I established the earth? So okay, now you gotta think. Job took place in the time of Genesis. Is when Job was alive.
It happens in between Genesis 12 and Genesis 13.
Yeah, so we're talking old, but not so old he should have actually been at creation.
Or was it Genesis 20?
Something like that. It's in the begin. It's in, it's before Jews are established. Tell me, if you have the understanding.
No, it's between 20 and 21.
Who fixed its dimensions? Certainly you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? What supports its foundations? Who laid its cornerstone? While the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy. Who enclosed the sea behind doors when it burst from the womb? When I made the clouds its garment and total darkness its blanket, when I determined its boundaries and put its bar and doors in place, when I declared, you may come this far, but no farther. Your proud waves will stop right here. Have you ever in your life commanded the morning or assigned the dawn its place? So this goes on, and I could keep reading, but at this point, it's fun. But, it's chapters. It's a chapter worth of. So then we get to, have you traveled to the sources of the sea? Have the gates of death been revealed to you? Have you seen the gates of deep darkness? Which I'm sorry, but if you line up behind gates of death, gates of deep darkness, this one's scary. What the F is this actually? First off, the extent of the earth.
Have you entered the place where the snow is stored, or have you seen the storehouses of hail?
What road leads to the place where light is dispersed?
What?
There's a road? Are we talking the Asgardian Rainbow Bridge? Is this what we're dealing with?
I hope so.
Does the rain have a father? Who fathered the drops of dew? Cloud? I don't know. Can you imagine standing there while God asks these kinds of questions?
Can you fasten the chains of the Pleiades or loosen the belt of Orion? Can you bring out the constellations in their season and lead the bear and her cubs?
So then we go to 39. Do you know where the mountain goats give birth? So now he's gone from these huge things to, dude, do you even know where goats live? Have you watched a deer in labor? Have you counted the months they're pregnant so you know what time they're going to give birth? No, I'm sorry, I don't know the gestational period of a deer. Crap. Who made donkeys wild?
The one dude who talked to one of them, that's who.
It was not Balaam.
Dude, you got bread right in front of your face.
Chapter 40, verse 15.
Is
But
when
the
it gets
CSB
real
calls it behemoth instead of
Oh,
Leviathan.
really?
Oh no. Then it calls it Leviathan in 41.
Does a hawk take flight by your
bad.
understanding and spread its wings to the south? Does the eagle
Chapter
soar
41.
at your command and make its nest on high? It lives on a cliff where it spreads its wings at night. Its stronghold is a rocky crag from where it searches for prey. Its eyes penetrating the distance. Its brood gulps down blood, and where the slain are, there it is. If you didn't shut there, you shut there. I'm just saying. And then we get to 40.
No.
That was 38. Then 39.
can't
Now
you
we're
have
at
that?
40.
Because he's got bread in front of him.
The Lord also answered Job.
Wait, please. Finnick is crying. I'm trying to listen.
So then Job answered the Lord. I am insignificant. How can I answer you? I place my hand over my mouth. I've spoken once, and I will not reply twice, and now I can add nothing. Basically, I should not have said a word. I'm very sorry.
But God's not satisfied.
And the Lord answered Job from the whirlwind. Get ready to answer me like a man. We're going right back to the same way this started. Would you challenge my justice? Would you declare guilty to justify? Do you have an arm like God's? Can you thunder with a voice like his? And it just keeps. Look at Behemoth, which I made along with you. He eats grass like cattle. Look at the strength of his back and the power in the muscles of his belly.
Now we're talking about dinosaurs.
Yeah, he stiffens his tail like a cedar tree. The tendons of his thighs are woven firmly together. His bones are bronze tubes. His limbs are like iron rods. He is the foremost of God's work. Only his maker can draw the sword against him. The hills yield food for him, and while all sorts of wild animals play there. He lies under the lotus plants, hiding in the protection of marshy reeds. Lotus plants cover them with his shade, and the willows by the brook surround him. Though the river rages, Behemoth is unafraid. He remains confident, even if the Jordan surges up to his mouth. Can anyone capture him while he looks, or pierce his nose with snares? Then we hit 41. So a lot of people have said that might be a brontosaurus. Maybe. Or something bigger, they're not sure, because of the definitions. You know, you got to have something with a tail like a cedar tree. You got to have, And then it goes, can you pull in Leviathan with a hook? Which is, think the Loch Ness Monster.
Mm-hmm.
That's who Leviathan is. Can you pierce his jaw? Will he beg for mercy or speak softly to you? I don't want to know. And so that continues. And so that's who Job is a dude who had a... And then when God finishes with him, he actually blesses him more than what he was before it started.
But the dragon.
I missed the dragon?
Well, it's continuing to talk about Leviathan. I cannot be silent by his limbs, his power, and his graceful proportions. Who can strip off his outer covering? Who can penetrate his double layer of armor? Who can open his jaws, surrounded by those terrifying teeth? His pride is in his rows of scales closely sealed together. One scale is so close to another that no air can pass between them. They are joined to one another so closely connected they cannot be separated. His snorting flashes with light, while his eyes are like the rays of dawn. Flaming torches shoot from his mouth. Fiery sparks fly out. Smoke billows from his nostrils as from a boiling pot or burning reeds. His breath sets coals ablaze and flames pour out of his mouth. Strength resides in his neck and dismay dances before him.
So basically, it's a water dragon, but it breathes fire.
Leviathan.
It's a dragon that lives in the water. What I think of when I say, what I thought when I said water dragon was a dragon that blows out water, which doesn't make any sense.
Alright, William, what else do we have for tonight?
More dragons.
That's it for tonight. I was wrapping up when you started talking about Job.
Sorry, Job. I've always loved the story of Job. It's quite interesting and just kind I'm sorry, God.
I'm sorry.
All right. So if you haven't already, go listen to the Leap Day special that came out, well, yesterday, because yesterday was Leap Day. And make sure that you go listen to the podcast that just came out about accountability. And have a great week, and we will see you next time.